So one of my favourite ever streaming box was this here. It's the Xiaomi Mi Box, and it's been made in 2016, still going strong. Pretty good box. Well, they've done an update for it, and guess what it's called? It's called the Xiaomi Mi Box S. Copying something off of Apple maybe, but this is the 2018 model. So what's the difference between these two? Well, turns out not a lot, other than you're going to have these built in now. In fact, it's the 4K version of this. Not only that, but you got one of these built in as well. So you get this and this. They can fit into this, all for the remarkable price of around about $50 to $70. So if you look at the back of the boxes, this is the 2016 model and this is the 2018 model. Now if you look at the back of them, they are pretty much identical, other than, I mean, the specs are pretty much, in fact they are identical. I believe the Wi-Fi has been improved in the 2018 box, but other than that, they're identical. Apart from, on the 2016 model, it says Google Cast and Google Voice Search, and in this one it says, the 2018 model, it says Chromecast built in with Google Assistant built in. So basically we've got the official Google Assistant on this with the official Chromecast on this. And it's not just your regular Chromecast, cost about $30, pounds. It's the 4K Chromecast, which costs more than this box. Does it add up? Well, I've been using it for a good month now, and I'm going to let you know exactly what's great about the box and what's, well, not so great about the box. In the box, you get an HDMI cable and you get a remote control, and I will look at the remote control just in a second. But what we've got with the box is it's a very, very simple box. There is nothing on the front or the sides. The bottom, there's no vents. And all you've got is your HDMI, you've got an audio in, like a 3.5 audio in, and you've got your power and you've got a USB. USB can be used to upgrade your storage, or indeed plug in one of these, which is a USB dongle for your Ethernet cable, because this doesn't have, as you can see, no Ethernet cable. But they say that the Wi-Fi has been improved in this. The Wi-Fi was never ever a problem with the old box, and if you're thinking about what the old box looks like, well, this is the old box here. So this box was a good box. It was a little bit glitchy. I had a problem with the HDMI. I used to get a bit blue screen, so I don't know if I had maybe a short just in the HDMI there. Other than that, it was a pretty good box. It wasn't perfect, as I say, it was a little bit glitchy, but it did have the official Android TV OS. This is 7.1, this is based on 8.1 Oreo. I'm a little bit excited, and I was also a little bit disappointed at the fact that the specs haven't been increased. Still only 2 gigs of RAM in this box, and in my testing it actually shows that there's only 2 gigs of RAM. But then again, the new Amazon 4K Fire Stick, which I think is amazing, has only got 1.5 gigs of RAM, so draw your own conclusions there. So I did mention the remote control, and this is the remote control here. It has been updated, and this is the old remote control. So the differences between the two, if we go from the top, you've still got your on-off button, but now you've got a dedicated, well, Google Assistant microphone button, what you want to call it. You did have one of them, but it was just a regular button sort of thing with a microphone on it. So it's got a little bit of colour to it. You've got the scroll wheel. You've now got an apps button here. You've got a dedicated Netflix button. And you've got a live button which does nothing in the UK, but I believe it does something in the US. I'm not totally familiar with it, so if you know what it is, please leave it in the comment section so you can let other people know. The biggest improvement I think with the remote control is this remote control, I always felt, this is the one, the 2016 version, it's got jaggy edges, so when you're holding it in your hand it was very uncomfortable to hold. Obviously address that with some feedback, because this is nice and rounded and it feels good in your hand, so you can hold it. If you're like me and you're watching the TV and you've got the remote control in the hand because you don't want anyone to steal it, it's good that it feels good in the hand. This I always felt as if I wanted to put it down and get rid of it. It wasn't very comfortable, so I'm glad they've improved that. So that's all there is physically about the box. So what does the interface look like? Well, I'm going to show you right now. I'm just going to put it into my capture card. I'm also going to show you how long it takes to boot up from a cold start. I'd say about 30 seconds it took there to load up. It's pretty good from a cold start, I think. Right, so it just takes a couple of seconds for the remote control to pair up. It is a Bluetooth remote control. Occasionally what happens is that it does disconnect and it comes up with the prompt that you have to press these two buttons, which can be a little bit annoying. But once it's connected, you know, it's very, very snappy. Very, very snappy. Let's see, so what we've got, if we press the apps button, I've put IP Vanish on it because I wanted to do some speed tests with IP Vanish. Kodi I've put on because I always put Kodi on all my boxes so I can watch my private collection of movies. Puffin Browser is essential because it doesn't come with Chrome, so if you want to use the internet on this or browse some pages, then it is ideal. It's an essential Puffin Browser. It works really well with this operating system. ES File Explorer I use to sideload a couple of apps, plus I always like to have it on every box I've got, and Connected Streams is my way of watching TV. So this has got the official licensed Netflix, so you're always going to be having the latest version of Netflix. So it's got Chromecast built in, so let's test Chromecast straight away. So let's cast that on there.
Merry New Year!
Didn't take long at all to cast. Now that's 1080p video. This can cast in 4K as well, so let's test that now. There you go, casting away in 4K, and you can see that it's doing a pretty good job. Is it completely smooth? Possibly not. It is hard to tell. Let's try another one. And it seems to be playing that pretty well. I don't really see any problem with that at all. Seems to be pretty good, and that's just casting from my phone. Now, it's not been a perfect experience casting, for example, but I will go into that towards the end of the video. Now, if you want to use the Google Assistant, you can do that, so let's just try that now. Play Grace and Frankie on Netflix.
Alright, opening Netflix.
And there you go, you're straight into Netflix. By the way, if you've got Netflix, I totally recommend this show. Play F is for Family on Netflix.
Sure, opening Netflix.
Highly recommend that show, by the way, and I absolutely love it. So I just want to do a wee quick speed test now, just to show you how fast the Wi-Fi is. So I'll just go into Puffin Browser, just go into fast.com. So they got my internet speed is 350 full speed. To be honest with you, when it comes to Wi-Fi off a box, that's as fast as I ever got off the previous box. So the Wi-Fi was supposed to be improved. It may be improved marginally, but not much, as I say. If you get any speed up to that, then you're going to get your pretty much full speed. So what I will do is I'll try and see what the difference is when you're connected to VPN, because I always like to know, especially when I'm doing these. This can vary wildly when it comes to Android boxes, is how fast it works with a VPN. So I'm just going to connect to the VPN now. So I've just connected to the fastest servers that are closest to me, which is London. And now we'll do another speed test and see what the difference is. Now this has varied when I've been testing this. I've had speeds like you're seeing there. I've also had speeds that have been faster than that, and I've also had speeds that have been, you know, slower than that. But if we'll just try it again, it's going roughly, so there we go. We've dropped maybe about 40%, but you're still getting speeds of 100 round about that. That's what I've been getting, depending the time of day. I've also got 140 maybe, the full speed. So if you're using a VPN with this box, you're not going to have a problem. You're still going to get pretty much your full speeds. And if you're wanting to watch live TV with this box, it runs great. However, it's not all plain sailing. This box is not perfect. In fact, when I used it for the first week or so, I found that it struggled with some DTS files. It also Netflix was a bit glitchy, it was a bit stittery, a bit stuttery, and I found a workaround around that. And what I have to do is, if you want this box to run as smoothly as you've seen in that demonstration there, is that you have to make sure that your apps are closed down regularly. How you would do that is highlight the one that you want to close down. For example, let's close down IP Vanish, and I believe it is, let's try, yes, it is the middle button. I was right all along. And this will come up, and you go into Info, and then you force stop it and press OK. Make sure it's force stop, and I do that regularly with all the apps that I've been using. Unfortunately, that's what I had to do to make sure that this box is running as smoothly as it should do, and I think that's just because it's got the 2 gig of RAM. So if it had more RAM than that, then I don't think I would have to do that. But unfortunately, I've had to do that to keep this box running as well as it does, because this is a fantastic box, it really is, but it's not perfect. The exact same thing happened when I tried to cast. I would cast and I would just get a blank screen, but I would hear the audio. As soon as I closed down the other apps, then it was working really well. So is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but as long as you make sure that your apps are closed down, this is a great box, especially if you love the Android system. Where does it go on my board? So here's the board, and here is it down here. Now I have rearranged this a little bit because, see, these benchmark scores, they mean nothing to me. They mean something to you, but they mean absolutely nothing to me. So I've arranged it in my preference. At the moment, my 2 Amazon boxes are still up there. The Amazon 4K 3rd gen, yes, I've got it at the top there. To be honest with you, that is a more powerful box, the 2nd gen, but there's not much between them. Because that does more 4K content, that's why it's up there with it, and the price is a bargain, especially if you can get it on a special price. I've got the B-Link GS1 box you can see next to my Fire Stick in the background, if you can see it there. So that's a great box. Again, it's an older box, but it's still a great box. That's the older Xiaomi box. So I would put it here. To be honest with you, it's on a par with the 4K Android box. I probably could put it right up the top with it. I'm not a great fan of the basic Android experience, so that's why the B-Link box there. I do prefer the Android OS experience and the official license boxes, that's what I'm trying to say. So that's why I prefer the Amazon boxes up here. So that's what it is. I've got rid of, the top spot before, because I've never had an NVIDIA Shield, and NVIDIA Shields are so expensive, and considering all I want to do is stream some videos off of Kodi or anything like that, then yeah, I don't need it. So that is my review of this Xiaomi S Box 4K. Great little box, and highly recommend it if you want the Android OS experience. There we go. So I hope you like this video, and please like, share, subscribe if you're into that sort of thing. If not, don't bother, just watch my next video as normal. I hope you're all well, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.